Hey y'all, I'm coming to you today live. I titled my live today, Time Does Not Heal All Wounds or Hurts, but Doing This Does. So, the last 2 weeks have been rough for me, and the best way I can describe it, after my household got sick and everybody started getting better, I started feeling, I just started missing my mom more than I already do. And I'm going to tell you the thing about when you lose somebody that you love, it can just be the smallest thing that triggers an emotion. You can see a picture, you can hear a song, you can pass a location that maybe something you guys went to, or, just it doesn't matter. You can just trigger it. And so I started to feel like a broken record. You know, my husband would be talking to me, or we'd be doing something, and I'd just start crying. And I felt bad. I shouldn't feel bad, but I did. I felt bad because I know my husband didn't know what to say. It's one of those things where you just let a person cry. And so I just decided I'm going to go back to Grief Share. I only got to go to one class because I had signed up for a different class that was on the same day, same time. So I just told my husband, I was like, I'm going back to Grief Share because it's proven to be pretty helpful. Like, I only went once, but I got so much from it. And I'm going to tell you, the funny thing is, like, when I went, they were talking about, so they have a workbook, and you go through the workbook and they hit on certain topics. And so the last time I went was probably about 2 months ago. And so then they cycle out. And so when I came back, they were talking about the same thing that they were talking about last time I went, which the topic was called getting unstuck. And so I was like, man, the last time I came, because I was like really going hard with my planner, like figuring everything out, getting everything like in process of promoting. I was really busy, which is one of the things that they talk about in Grief Share, is that when you keep yourself busy, sometimes people don't have time to really feel what they're feeling because they have preoccupied themselves. So I've just gotten to a place where I've like completely finished my planner. Everything is like done. Got my brochures and all that stuff. And like now I'm just out really marketing my stuff. So I've had time to like really kind of slow down and just process, I guess you could say. And just the smallest things make me feel a certain way sometimes. So the last 2 weeks have been really hard for me. And something that they talked about actually in the class was that time does not heal all wounds unless you do this. I thought it was a really valid point. So you can like let 5 years go by, a month go by, 6 years go by, and you think you're better, and then somebody says or does something, and this can be really with anything, and then you're triggered, and you may have a reaction to something to be like, excuse you? You know what I mean? Like, not even know why you're reacting a certain way, or maybe somebody does, or they carry themselves in a way that rubs you the wrong way, or it makes you feel good, and you're not exactly sure why. When people, and this is my personal opinion, but when people don't do the work to figure out what their triggers are, it could be a long time, and then you have somebody all of a sudden doing something and you can't figure out why you're getting so upset. And I've told my husband, I'm like, people don't do a lot of that work. So unless you do the work of figuring out what motivates you, what triggers you, then it's hard for you to heal. You'll just kind of like put stuff over it, and you won't realize it until somebody does something that's making you feel a certain way. And then when you ask yourself the question, why do I feel this way? If you ever find yourself feeling a certain way and you don't know why, it's really important to ask yourself out loud, why do I feel this way? Why do I have this emotion? Why do they make me upset? And give yourself time to really answer the question. Because if you sit still, it may not come to you at that very moment, but it will come to you. I do this every time I'm like feeling a certain way and I don't know why. And I did this with the other day. And so like I just said, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. All of a sudden I feel like I'm getting more sad. And then I realized it was something that I was watching that was not helping either. Something that was like this would seem like pretty obvious, but I was watching something where people had passed on and it was talking about the experience. It wasn't helping me. And so much so to the point where it was actually starting to make me feel pretty sad all the time. It was actually affecting my everyday life, which is why I'm always saying it's important what you say, what you watch, what you listen to, like all that stuff affects the soul of a person. I don't care what you say. We all have a soul. What you're watching affects you. So you make sure you're watching something that's going to edify you and help you to be the best version of yourself. That is so important for you and your kids and whomever else. But in doing the work that I'm doing with this planner, so for you guys that don't know, I've created a planner. It's called Questions Now or Regrets Later. And what I do is I'm helping parents and their adult kids to create a roadmap for their family for emergency situations. Lost my mom unexpectedly, and then I had to figure out so many things in a matter of 3 weeks. And it was a hard process. It didn't have to be as hard as it was. So I created this planner to help people to know the right questions to start asking your family in case of an emergency. It's $100, and I'm telling you, it will save you. It can. I'm not gonna say it will. It can save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of strife between you and your family. And it's just by simply answering some questions. Like, I've mainstreamed the process because I had to go through it, and I was just like, people should not have to go through this. This is hard. And when you've lost somebody that you love, especially if you're super close, it's even harder. Whatever it costs 10 times more. Whatever the time it takes, it takes 10 times longer to get stuff done. So I've been helping people to figure this out. Like, I say, hey, here, go through this. Once you've completed it, then you talk to your family about it. Once you've done that, then you take it to your legal counsel, whomever that may be, and help them to make legalized documents out of this so that in case of emergency, people have a roadmap to figure out what to do in a certain situation scenario. And I want you guys to think, because my mom has been gone since September. It's coming up on almost a year. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. But what I go through as the person on the other side, I'm the person that has had to deal with the loss and dealing with the family and the strife and the money. It is a hard process when you're trying to get past or move on and you still keep getting hit with stuff from the past because something wasn't done correctly or was not even addressed. I'm telling you, it's a hard thing. And so for me, I've addressed most of the things, but there are still some things that we're working through when it comes to my mom's passing. Like, and that's not just me, that's my dad. My dad's known my mom since she was 6 years old. And so I just think it's so important. Like, you can't just skip through how you may feel about a certain thing. And this is just everyday life. Like, you've really got to do the work. Like, you have to do the work in order to get that healing that you need. And sometimes it's not as easy as like, oh, okay, in a couple of months I'm going to feel better. Like, you may think you feel better, but when you get triggered, you realize, dang, I'm still at square one. It's not a bad thing, like, as long as you're willing to acknowledge where you actually are and what you have to do in order to fix it or to help heal. So, I just thought it was important to talk about it. You know, time does not heal. Time doesn't heal. Like, time just helps us to forget sometimes the way that we felt or were feeling. But in a moment's time, somebody can say or do something that brings you back and helps you to realize you haven't gotten over anything, especially if you haven't done the work to have the outcome that you really want. So you guys, if you're a person and you have not taken the time to write down what to do in times of emergency, find your beneficiaries, have those conversations with your family, like, super important. I just cannot stress the importance of doing this stuff now. Not when something happens, not 5 days from now, like now, to do it now and get this stuff in order. Do you know how many people actually plan a vacation? They'll take 2 or 3 vacations and they won't ever think about stuff like this, which is like life-changing for the people that are left behind. Think about your family, because if you don't do it, guess who has to deal with it? Your spouse, your child, friends, family, like people who may have no idea what you would want because you didn't talk about it. to not talk about it is a real disservice to a lot of your friends and your family. And then they spend the rest of their time wondering, like, is this what they wanted? Well, what if I could have done more? What if we'd had a conversation? Like, you can really help to avoid a lot of what ifs, a lot of pain. Like, there's going to be pain, but you can help to ease some of the stuff that's going to come their way. So if you want more information, please go to my website. It's www.notyourtypicalplanner.com. You can download my checklist, the 6 must-haves that you must-have documents that you need in order to help make sure that you have the very basic essential stuff written down. Write it down. Make it plain. It's important to write this stuff down, you guys. I can't say it enough. Write it down. So I want to thank you for stopping by. I look forward to talking to you in my next video, and I will talk to you guys soon.